Good evening and welcome to another video. I'm Adam Shelton, mental health advocate as usual, and tonight we have got a special guest. He is a psychologist, forensic mental health See, my phone just keeps going off. He's an expert nurse and a CBT therapist. His work these days tends to focus on psychological assessment of immigration clients for law firms. He's written several self-help books and currently have 13 online courses in mental health on a platform called Udemy. He lives in London with his wife during the summer, but other than that, he lives in Spain, where he continues with his online work and also organises residential retreats for yoga, REIKI, and GONG. Is it?
GONG, yeah.
GONG. Never heard of it. But welcome, Kevin.
Thank you very much. Nice to be talking to you today.
Yes, absolutely. So obviously the first question I've got straight up is, what is a forensic mental health expert witness?
Sure. Well, forensic mental health basically is anything to do with mental health or mental illness and the law. So anything where those two subjects kind of interact and cross paths in a sense. So forensic mental health expert witness, that's, for example, where I'm asked as a psychologist to, for example, do a psychological assessment for a client and then write a report that solicitors will use for the courts. So, for example, if somebody's applying for asylum in the UK and maybe they've been tortured or treated very unfairly back home and they seek safety in the UK, my assessment from a forensic mental health point of view would be where I assess the impact of what's happened to them back home, and I assess how they're doing now and the likely impact if they're refused asylum and have to go back home. So forensic just means anything to do with the law, basically, and mental health is, of course, mental health and the law.
Wow.
Sure.
Very powerful, very powerful. And obviously, best in interest of children and asylum applications, and that's when you go on to written several self-help books. So how many have you got in total?
I think I have 4 at the moment. Yeah, 4 at the moment. And the main one is an introduction to cognitive behavior therapy, because I'm also a CBT therapist.
Yeah.
So it's a basic introductory book for people who can use the CBT techniques and strategies for themselves. And then I've also done a little book of thinking errors. So thinking errors are kind of central to CBT, where, for example, the way that we think about stuff has an impact on how we feel. So the idea is that if we can get to grips with some of the thinking errors and change the way that we think, ideally, we then begin to feel differently. So these are introductory books, really.
Yeah, all these are on Amazon, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all on Amazon. They're all ebooks currently, so I don't have any of them printed. So they're electronic and Kindle books.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at that very shortly. What made you want to become an author, like write these books?
I think it was actually back in 2010. There's a bit of a story behind this. When my wife and I first went to Spain and we lived there full time for 12 months of the year, the economy in both Britain and the rest of Europe was very bad at the time. And both of us had very little work to do. So both of us began writing books. And so I thought, well, let me, put some of my experience into words and write books, self-help books for people. And I don't really make any money from them. I think they're very low in price. So it's almost like giving them away, but I feel as if I'm giving something back to society.
Yeah,
so I wrote them during a time when things were pretty bad with the economy. And
this is why I do these videos, because I'm giving back to the community as well. after I
Sure.
got help when I attempted suicide just March last year. So it's been a very roller coaster for me due to
Oh, I'm
traumatic
sure.
events I suffered growing up.
Sure.
So obviously, I want to go on to these online courses with Udemy. Now, I have never heard of Udemy. I've heard of like um, online courses itself, but
Sure.
never Udemy.
Apparently, Udemy is the biggest platform, international platform for online courses. I don't have any shares in Udemy, so I'm not plugging them, but apparently they are the biggest kind of platform for online courses. And there are thousands of courses on there. I think it's based in America, but people from all over the world put their courses on Udemy, and students based all over the world buy the courses from Udemy as well. And so I think I have about 13 online courses there, all related to psychology, mental health and well-being, forensic mental health, criminal profiling, stuff like that. So they're all kind of video-based lectures, handouts, PDFs, exercises, stuff like that. So, so yeah, it's always been good fun putting those courses together. And from a personal point of view, I always feel as if I get much more out of it when I either write a book or I put together a course. I do lots of research to remind myself of various topics, and I learn a great deal myself, and I really enjoy it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because what better time than now to actually get online and do some courses? Because I've done some online courses myself. Like I became a first aider. Well, that was last year. Became a level 2 mental health coach. I've done quite a few courses, which obviously I printed the certificates out myself. Don't ask me what I've done because I can't remember because I've done too many. So, but yeah, I think a couple
Yeah.
was in autism or mental health.
Oh, okay.
I haven't a clue because obviously I've got
Sure.
autism myself. I'm raising an autistic son, which is
Sure.
a challenge and can have an impact on people's mental health itself.
Sure. Sure.
Absolutely.
I think this lockdown, this whole coronavirus and the lockdown has had a massive impact on people's mental health. And I think one of the big coping strategies that I have kind of stuck to throughout this whole period, it's been difficult for me during this lockdown period, is trying to keep myself busy and having some kind of a schedule every day. And, you know, I thought to myself, let me put together some more courses, and I put several more courses together, done lots of reading, you know, coping strategies, kind of for working out. I might not look as if I work out, but I do. I'm getting there. But yeah, I think keeping busy during this period is a massive help for people's mental health and well-being.
Yeah, because I did struggle for the first couple of weeks because I was still adjusting to it. But now I've started doing all these videos. I used to do it like it was once a week on Facebook. And I was on for like an hour, maybe even 2 hours at a time. And I thought, I'm not making an impact here. So this is why I've started different platforms. Even if it's just half an hour, I make an impact on someone's life.
Absolutely.
And obviously, when we're speaking before, I talk about all sorts on the YouTube, which obviously people will see this video on YouTube either tonight or tomorrow. I can't remember when.
Sure.
Well, yeah. This is where we come up to the residential retreats for yoga, REIKI, and Qigong.
Qigong, yeah.
Qigong, that's it.
Well,
Please explain them to us.
Yeah, so when we were in Spain during the winter, we put together these retreats, and people come over from Britain and the rest of Europe, and they spend a week or so, or a long weekend. My daughter is a qualified yoga teacher, my stepdaughter rather. She's a qualified yoga teacher, so she teaches lots of online yoga courses. And so when we have a retreat, she takes care of the yoga classes. My wife is a REIKI healer. It's a Japanese kind of therapy where you put the hands on and they use universal energy to help heal the individual. and I practice Qigong along with my wife as well. We both practice Qigong. And that's basically a Chinese form of, I guess it's like moving meditation. It's very similar to Tai Chi, if ever you've seen Tai Chi.
I've seen Tai Chi, yeah.
And so Tai Chi actually came out of Qigong
Wow.
thousands of years ago. And so basically we practice every day. We do a couple of different sets, takes about 40 minutes or so. And it's not strenuous, but it's very relaxing. And that has been a godsend to me during this lockdown as well, because you can start to feel quite anxious and stressed during this lockdown, especially in the early days when you keep on looking at the TV for the latest update, and it all felt so negative at times. And I thought, okay, let me turn off the TV and go out to the local park and practice Qigong. And it's very nice, slow movements, and it does me the world of good. Really does.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's what I've stopped doing. Is I've stopped watching telly in the morning, especially the news, because they're not giving real answers. They're not. And this is why I've started doing these. I focus on what I need to do, self-care for myself. I've even started meditating. Yeah, it's more of a relaxing meditation. But it does meditate. I even do this. I'm trying to think what it's called now. It begins with exercise, where obviously you're pushing your hands together 5 seconds, then you separate.
Oh, okay. Oh.
I can't remember what it's called now. I need to get in touch with my friend about that.
Sure.
He's going to shout at me because I forgot.
But it helps, huh?
It helps. It definitely de-stresses. Because I felt less anxious because I do them every day. 30 seconds every single day, and I'm there, relaxing all the muscles.
It's so important to have a range of skills, isn't it, to manage our own mental health. And I think that's one of the myths around mental illness, is that it's only some people who suffer from mental illness and the rest of us are not mentally ill. But the truth is that all of us have mental health and well-being, and all of us suffer with mental illness from time to time as well. Whether that's anxiety, depression, worry, whatever it is, we all experience it. And I think so I've kind of learned myself over the years that it's really important to have a range of coping strategies. And whatever that might be can be different for different people. A walk in the park, taking the dog out, practicing Qigong, writing love letters, whatever it is, coping strategy is really important.
Absolutely, and that's where I was coming to, because I use these. Like, I've even put in, because my partner got me a diary because of how many videos I'm doing every week. Because I've turned it from once a week to I'm doing about 5 a week now, which is a very improvement. And I've noticed I've been a hell of a lot busier. Where I'm even doing like videos at UK time, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm on to like 10:45. So I'm not, because obviously I use different platforms like Zoom, StreamYard, so on, so on. So obviously, definitely, this is a coping strategy for me.
Sure.
Otherwise, because if I just stop, depression comes back, suicidal thoughts come back, and we need to do everything in our power to prevent this.
Sure. And the thing is as well, everything that you do has an impact, because if people watch the videos and they listen to the videos, and then it starts a conversation with their family and friends or somebody at work, and we never get to know the amount of impact that we have sometimes. But I believe everything we do has an impact. And so the work that you do, for example, has an impact, and you'll never really know how much of an impact it has.
No, because I received a Facebook message just the other day. Well, it was more of a voice note, and it was actually somebody who lives in America, believe it or not. And she sent me a voice note saying, enjoy your videos. I even showed a couple of your videos to my daughter, and she's only young herself. And the amount, and I had a massive impact on her. And another one here in the UK, obviously his son was getting bullied at school, and I didn't know anything about this. And then he tuned into one of my videos, and obviously showed his son my video. Now, obviously, his son has now told his dad, "Oh, I'm getting bullied at school because I spoke about bullying. That it's okay to talk."
Yeah.
Because he never did
Absolutely.
that before. I was allowed to get bullied growing up by my parents, but if my kids get bullied, I act on it instantly. So I've
Sure.
learned what not to do growing up.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
This is how it is, because it's a massive
Yeah.
stigma what's going on, and it's
Yeah.
about time something gets done about it.
Yeah. And one of the best ways of breaking down stigma about anything, mental illness or anything, is getting people to open up and express their thoughts and feelings about it, getting people to talk about it, putting it out there in the mainstream, in social media.
Yeah.
And that really helps to break down stigma.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I've always said to people, the first step to recovery is admit there is a problem there.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
the first step, and
Yeah.
and that's why I did that. After 21 years of silence, from when I was getting abused growing up, from the age of 3 years old.
Sure.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was diagnosed with depression, anxiety at just 4 years old. So this is why I do what I do today.
Sure.
And if it weren't for my partner or my kids, we probably won't be having this conversation today.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So yeah. So what's next for Kevin then?
What's next for Kevin? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to continue making these online courses. Um, I'm about to finish my master's. I've just got to do the dissertation. That's causing me a great deal of anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing, is that kind of normalizing anxiety, stress, worry, sadness, whatever it is. It's about normalizing that and talking about it.
Absolutely.
And everybody has these feelings, for example. So some of that anxiety that I have felt during the master's course, I finished all the coursework now. My final piece of work actually failed, and I had to resubmit it and redo it. So that caused a great deal of anxiety and worry as well, But again, I use all those coping strategies and some of the CBT kind of self-talk to get me through that stuff and to shift my frame of mind on it.
Because obviously my partner developed social anxiety throughout this lockdown, and I thought I need to do something about this, because I always believe work starts at home. And I got her this little ornament, which obviously you can pin on the wall, and it's shaped in a heart. It clearly states, always remember, and obviously I'm giving this advice to you as well, for your masters, always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you think, and love more than you already know.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to send that to me so I can write it down and stick it on the wall behind my laptop when I'm working, because that'll kind of remind me. That's
I
really
had a wall sticker on my. No, I did have a wall sticker on my wall, but I ain't got it anymore. It clearly says anything is possible if you believe in yourself.
Sure.
And there's another one which I look at every single day. Another one clearly states, if I can survive the war that I battle with myself, I can survive anything.
Yeah, excellent. I have a little coin, and I don't know where I got it from, but it's a little ornamental coin, and it has written on this coin is, "This too shall soon pass." And it's really helpful if I look at it, if I'm going through a difficult period, for example, or something's worrying me, and I look at that, and it just reminds me that whatever this is, it's always temporary. The stuff that we worry about, sometimes if we get into a low mood, for example, it's always temporary. It's not forever and ever.
No. But
sometimes when we're in the midst of anxiety, worry, or if we're depressed, it can feel as if, okay, this is how I'm going to feel forever now. But it's not, it's temporary.
Exactly.
And it's, I find that helpful.
Yeah, I totally sympathise with that because I started listening. I never used to do this before lockdown. I started
Yeah.
watching, going on YouTube a hell of a lot. And I was watching inspiring speakers. I just put that in. And the likes of Jim Carrey came up, the likes of Dwayne Johnson. And I thought, you know what? I'll click on Dwayne Johnson. And he was giving a speech about failure.
Yeah.
And he basically turned around, and I was comparing it to living in experiencing mental health difficulties.
Sure.
And obviously, he clearly stated if your back is against that wall, what are you going to do about it? Always question yourself. Are you going to carry on letting all this negativity push you? Or are you going to take that one step and fight back?
Sure.
Because it's like
Absolutely.
a storm. It's like a storm. I had somebody come to me a few days ago. They was experiencing serious anxiety issues, and I'm like, right, you've got this really dark black cloud above you. Understandable. I feel your pain because I've been there before. But always remember, storms don't last forever. They're always here temporary as well.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I remind myself about failure. So, for example, when I failed at this last piece of work, it kind of got to me for a while.
Yeah.
And but I reminded myself pretty quickly that actually it's okay to fail at stuff. All of us fail at stuff all the time. But that doesn't, if I fail at something, it doesn't make me a failure as a person. It just makes me a person that has tried this thing and hasn't quite cracked it yet. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Look at Thomas Edison. He failed the light bulb 10,000 times.
That's right.
10,001. We now have the light bulb. And as well, I'm going to let you know, every word has a meaning. And fail, and one of my good friends taught me this. Fail actually means first attempt in learning.
Fail is
First attempt in learning.
first attempt in learning. I would say FAIL. Oh, the
Yeah.
penny's dropped now. Yeah.
First attempt in learning.
First attempt
And like
in learning.
the word no, next opportunity.
Next opportunity. Oh, excellent.
Hey, we learn something every day.
Oh, isn't that good? Isn't that
Yeah.
good? Oh, wow. Yeah. You mentioned social anxiety just a while ago.
Yes.
And I think your partner had experienced social anxiety. And I always think it's important to kind of, for us to acknowledge that everybody actually experiences some degree of social anxiety. So whether it's getting up, giving a speech at somebody's wedding, giving a speech at work, for example, everybody feels butterflies in the stomach, they might feel anxious, dry in the throat, and whether or not they want to call that social anxiety or performance anxiety, it kind of amounts to the same. Yeah, but it's all on a continuum. So for some people, it's very severe and they don't feel like they can cope with going out of the house, for example. Whereas for other people, it might be they dread attending the Monday morning meeting at the office, for example. It's the same thing, but it's different for different people. But I think just to call it for what it is, to say that it's social anxiety and we all experience it as well. And that helps to normalize it, I think. And again, going back to stigma, I think, it's really important to normalize mental health issues and to say that we all experience them. There's nobody that's immune from mental health issues.
Absolutely. Because I always say mental health, it can either be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. The choice is up to you. You're slap bang in the middle. You got to choose a side.
Sure.
Because the choice always comes to you. And I've always said it doesn't matter what book you buy, what professional advice you get, what research you do. The only person that knows the mental health best is yourself.
That's right. I agree with you. Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's one piece of last advice would you give to somebody who's recognizing anxiety for the very first time?
I would say one of the best things that you can do is to acknowledge the anxiety, to normalize it, to realize that everybody I'm sure even Her Majesty the Queen feels anxious at times. Everybody feels anxiety, you know, and one of the best things we can also do is to talk about it. It doesn't have to be to a professional or a counsellor or a therapist. It can be just talking to anybody that you trust, you know. And if, for example, somebody's in a position where they don't feel able to talk to anybody in their family or friends, for example, I would say, you know, talk to Samaritans, talk to a priest if you're religious, for example, or an imam or somebody at the Sikh temple, or anybody that you think you can trust with this information that you're going to talk to them about, the things that make you anxious.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things we can do is to talk about it and get it out there in the open, say what we think, express how we feel, cry if we need to. For many years, I always felt that men don't cry, you know, but I realized, I think I was about 24, 25, when I kind of began to realize that actually it's normal to cry.
Yeah.
Everybody does it, and it is so therapeutic.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's an act of bravery as well. It's a real act of bravery. It's self-preservation. You're expressing how you feel. And if anybody else has problems with us crying, well, let them deal with that for themselves. Because if I want to cry, I'm going to cry.
Absolutely, because it takes a human. It takes a human to cry. You
That's
don't
right.
cry, you're not human. And I have cried on camera before, plenty of times.
Sure.
Like you'll even see on my YouTube video, I have cried a couple of times, and
Sure.
I know I'll be getting my story out there, I think next week, about my life and my traumatic events, and 100% I know I will cry. I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that sends out such a powerful message that it's okay to cry, for men, for women, to children, everybody. It's okay to cry. And that's a powerful message that you send out with that.
It is absolutely. It's okay not to be okay, but always remember there's people out there waiting. And on that note, thanks for coming on, Kevin.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Good talking to you.
Anytime. There you go.